Hey guys, I wanted to start my own little Tarot 101 course online, as when I was starting to first read the tarot, YouTube was a huge help. There are so many amazing tarot readers and tutorials and guides and videos out there that really helped me. And if you're anything like me, you definitely learn better by doing and seeing than just reading. So I kind of wanted to contribute and give a little back to the universe because I'm so thankful for all the great people that I learned from on YouTube. So for this first course, I wanted to concentrate on free association and using it to come up with your own intuitive meanings of the cards. As a holistic reader and as someone who relies extremely heavily on their intuition and their gut, this is the best way that I've learned to read the cards. As you may or may not know, most tarot decks come with their version of the little white book, which is a little it's a book that the tarot authors will give with their decks that explains their interpretations and their meanings of each of the cards in their deck. While I think this is an amazing tool to use, especially when you're first beginning, I also think it's best to go with your instincts when you're trying to figure out what the cards can mean, especially when it comes to the cards and their meanings in an actual reading. More often than not, when I'm doing a reading, I will, be going along nice and smoothly, and I might get to a card I don't quite understand what it means or why it's in the spread. So I will just start free association, and usually that just means I'll look at the card, I'll see what the suit is, what that suit represents, and then I'll just kind of start describing the card. I'll describe it out loud to the querent, to myself, and kind of find a trajectory from there to see what it could possibly mean in the course of the reading. 9 times out of 10, this is the best way I've discovered to understand a card you may find difficult to get right away. The most helpful tip I can give you when doing free association is to start a daily tarot journal. I'm sure that in your in your research online about the best ways to learn tarot, I would say most tarot readers have a tarot journal. The best way to use it, I find, is to pick one card a day and journal about it. Write down your first impressions, what you think the card means. Write down descriptive words, colors, actions, whatever you see in the card, write it down. And then take a look at the little white book or the booklet that comes with your deck that you bought and see what the author thinks and says it means. Make note of the words and the phrases that you use that are similar, and also make note of the phrases and words that are not the same. And journal about why you think you picked the right one, or why you pick ones that are the same, why you pick ones that were different, and what that could possibly mean. I did this for a while. I did it on in a notebook, and actually I then turned to doing it on Instagram. Believe it or not, it was easier for me on the train to work, or I don't always have access to my notebook or to a pen and pencil, so it was the best way for me to do it was just do it on Instagram, post it, put my thoughts, and see if any other tarot readers had any of the same interpretations, and it kind of opened a great dialogue. Alright, so let's get started. I picked 3 cards. I do not know what these cards are. So I'm going to look at them, and I'm going to do some free association with you guys. Just the words and the phrases and the meanings that come to me when I first see these cards. And you can kind of get an example of what free association looks like when you're trying to come up with an interpretation of a card. So for the first card, we have the Knight of Cups. Now, the court cards, as many tarot readers will tell you, can be a little tricky to read. They can represent emotions, they can represent people, they can represent actions, they can represent a lot within a reading. So depending where they show up in the spread, they can be a little tricky to interpret. So the first thing when looking at the Knight of Cups, I know that cups represent the element of water, which represents the emotions or the heart or the emotional connections of a person. The Knights represent air, which represents thought and communication, swift action. So right away I kind of see, we've got emotion and we've got swift action, so maybe somebody who thinks before he speaks. Looking at the horse, I can see that it's moving, but it's not moving very quickly, so slow and steady. That kind of goes along too with this river in the background. It definitely has a flow to it and a current to it, but it doesn't look like it's going too fast. So again, I would say someone who is slow and steady, who feels things and acts on them, but not too quickly. And also here you see he's reaching out with the cup. Is he leading with his heart, leading with his emotions? Is he giving his emotions away or trying to give some love out to somebody or to a situation or a person. I often hear this card described as the Prince Charming of the deck, and I definitely like that interpretation quite a bit. So those are just a few of the words and examples that I came up with or I think of right away when I see this card. The next card is going to be the Ten of Pentacles. And right away I know that tens represent, the earthly things, money, finances, health, practicality. I know that 10 represents completion and wholeness. So when you look at this card, you see, a happy family surrounded by, blooming plants and a beautiful house. They all have great, very nice clothing on. There's basically raining money on them. So this card definitely to me, I feel wholeness, completion, happy family matters. I've also heard or known this card to mean inheritance, as we have, the young family with the young child and the older man, who definitely, he's in these very elegant robes. He definitely comes from wealth, which means his family also comes from wealth. So it's definitely a card of a happy home life, kind of, you've worked your whole life, you've worked hard toward a certain goal, and you definitely have met that goal. Last but not least, we have the Hanged Man. This guy is one of my favorite cards in the entire deck. And when you very first look at the, when I very first was starting to learn the tarot, I saw this card as a bit scary. I saw him hanging upside down. To me, it meant crucifixion or martyrdom. To some people, I think it does still mean that, but to me, it represents hanging upside down. You're seeing things differently. You're seeing things from a new perspective. You're seeing things how you don't normally see them. Now, one thing interesting with this card is, how did this guy get there? Did he put himself there, or did he get hung up by somebody else? I think that's a great way to look at this card, depending on where it comes from the reading. Did this guy do this to himself to get a new perspective, or was it maybe forced upon him in order to see things differently? So this might seem a little rudimentary in the interpretation of the cards. It may seem very basic, but to me, I really think, the sun. I really think it's the best way to start to learn the cards. There are obviously numerous ways to learn the interpretations of a card, but I definitely always encourage people that no matter what they read in the little white book or the booklet that comes with the deck, to always go with their instincts. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to try to keep the lesson short and sweet, as I know that I'm always pressed for time, so I'm sure you guys are as well. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please leave them down there. Leave me a comment. Please subscribe. I plan on doing quite a few of these. And yeah, that's all that I got. Have a great day.